What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nemo Propaganda here, and today we're going to talk about the Cabasse Murano. Now, this is a speaker that's in for review because you guys asked for it. You guys noticed that this speaker normally sold for $4,400 a pair, but was on sale for 50% off, and you wanted to know if it was any good. Upscale Audio sells them, so I went down there. I talked to Kevin and asked for a review sample. He said, no problem, but I said, Kevin, I don't want to review the speaker if you've only got one or two pairs in stock. What if the video blows up and people want to buy these? You know, I want to make sure you've got inventory. And he's like, yes, I got a good amount of inventory. Don't worry about it. Now, obviously, guys, supply is limited as these are being clearanced. So they will sell out at some point. But for now, Kevin's assured me he's got a healthy amount of inventory of all three colors. This is the mahogany. They also come in gloss white or lacquer white, sorry, and lacquered black. All three look absolutely stunning in person. Now, before I start the video, as always, the best way to support me, guys, it's not a Patreon, it's no affiliate links. I don't use none of that. All I ask, watch the video the whole way through, guys. Second thing, Nemo Propaganda is a little bit injured, so if my excitement seems lower than usual, it has nothing to do with the product. I'm just not feeling well. And usually I wouldn't film if I wasn't feeling well or if I was injured. But this injury is going to be with me for another couple months until I can get it fixed, and I can't let it stop me. I got to keep making this content. I enjoy the process. You guys want to hear about it, and it's a good time, so I'm not going to let it hold me back. So let's jump into it. Let me get those main specs on screen so you guys can check that out. I'll tell you about some unique features, what makes the speaker special, how it sounds, how it compares to some other speakers that are closer to its full price, and how it compares to some speakers at its current price where it's being clearanced. Because some of you guys might wonder, hey, this thing's been in the market for a while, you know, or have some of the, $2,500 speakers gotten so good that this is kind of just an old model that doesn't compete, or are you getting a hell of a deal? Listen, I won't waste your time. I think the Cabasse Murano at its current sale price of $2,200 is the best deal in hi-fi that we're going to see for 2024 straight up. Let's just get that out of the way. But let me tell you what I like about the speaker. So some unique features. First, look, this beautiful finish, this mahogany, you got to see it in person to appreciate it. I hope my B-roll can capture some of its greatness. It looks so stunning. There's a lot of depth to the wood, and it just looks fantastic. Speaker weight is usually not something I mention as a standout feature, but these darn things weigh a little over 30 pounds a piece. They are substantial. They are built very well, and fit and finish is phenomenal. In the front, we have a bass driver that's just under 7 inches. Up top, we have a coaxial mid-range and tweeter. Yes, this is a three-way design. Around back, we have a beautiful terminal plate that's made out of metal and bespoke binding posts, as well as the bass port. Again, overall, fit, finish, just the minute I pulled them out of the box, it was absolutely a speaker that normally would sell for $4,400 without a doubt. So, what does it sound like, though? Because let's be honest. Even though they're currently on sale, even though they're beautiful, even though it's a cool three-way design with custom drivers and made in France, like, if it's not the sound you're looking for, it might not matter, right? So let's jump into it. Starting with the treble region, ever so slightly on the forward side of neutral, very, very, very expansive, open, and detailed, yet very easy on the ears because the detail isn't pushed forward into your face. It remains layered within the soundstage, which I appreciate very much. But it's almost like the background's just darker. It's easier to hear that detail. There's a lot of separation between the notes. It's very effortless. And the sibilance control is awesome on this speaker. There's a lot of songs I really like that have a little bit of sibilance, kind of no matter what speaker I use. With the Murano, which you would think it would be the opposite because the speaker has just such great detail retrieval, you would think it would have more sibilance. No, it has less. What I call that overall is a highly refined treble region that is at minimum on par with other speakers in the $5,000 a pair or higher price category. And we'll get into that when we talk about, when we do the comparisons, right? So again, look, the treble, highly refined, highly resolving, a lot of resolution to it, airspace separation, expansiveness. but not too forward. Very easy on the ears. The leading edges are very well defined, but the attack is still very soft. Not very soft, ever so slightly soft. So look, it's a great treble presentation. Moving down to the mid-range, that expansive quality continues. Huge depth, width, and height to the soundstage. A lot of resolution, a lot of detail and detail retrieval within that soundstage, and just this very expansive sound. Here's the interesting thing. Usually, when a mid-range has those characteristics, it tends to lean cool, analytical, or dry. The Cabasse Murano tonally is none of those things. It's actually warm in the mid-range. It's tonally rich in the mid-range. This speaker has some soul to it still, and tonal richness that convey a sense of emotion and feeling to the music, yet have the expansiveness of speakers that are usually known for being hyper analytical. So again, what they're accomplishing in the mid-range, this combination of expansiveness, but still having tonal richness, beautiful. Hats off to them. It's much like that accomplishment they had in the treble region, where it's very detailed, yet easy on the ears. They do it without being forward. It's just they strike this really good balance. How's the bass? Well, the speaker weighs 31 pounds, and a lot of that mass comes from the driver they use. It's got a massive motor section. So look, this speaker's got a ton of bass. Very powerful, very effortless, fantastic note-to-note distinction. There's no bump in the mid-bass region, so it's more linear, just really powerful, really good extension, really good transients. I'm going to go ahead and say a subwoofer is going to be optional for a lot of people with this speaker. Yeah, it's going to depend on your personal taste and how big your room is, but this is definitely a subwoofer optional speaker. So look, that's the sound, but I know we use a lot of these descriptors with other speakers too sometimes, so it's still hard to know what does it really sound like. So let's do some comparisons to give some context to everything I just told you. So let's start with something that's more expensive, like the Focal Canta #1. Now, in the US, it's $8,000 a pair. The Murano was originally $4,400 a pair, but in some other countries, I noticed the Canta and the Murano were priced a little bit closer to each other. So let's start with the top end. The presentation is quite a bit different. The Focal Canta #1 is a little bit more forward in the mid-range. It's going to give you a little bit more detail and detail retrieval overall. The Canta #1 is known to be a little bit of an analytical speaker and a hyper detail focused presentation. The Murano is not far behind at all in terms of its detail and detail retrieval. And matter of fact, personally, I feel the Murano does it in a way that is a little bit more natural. The Canta #1 is going to take that detail that's layered and it's going to push it all forward. So you're going to lose some depth in the treble region. That is a characteristic of a lot of hyper detailed speakers, especially when they push it all forward, right? It does some cool things for imaging and it is a great sound in a lot of ways, but I prefer the Murano's more natural presentation that can still give you all that detail and detail retrieval and nuance, but keep that layering in the soundstage. That detail that's supposed to sound further back is still further back. It's just easier to hear. Everything is just more resolving in a natural way. Sound quality on the two speakers is about on par, and that's a hell of a compliment to the Murano because the Canta #1 does have very good high quality treble. I will say the Murano's treble is just a little bit easier on the ears, ever so slightly less resolving than something like the Canta #1, but they play in the same ballpark, if you know what I'm saying. They're more similar than different in terms of their technical capability and sound quality overall. Just the presentations are different. Let's talk about mid-range. The Canta #1's mid-range is going to be a little bit more analytical. It's not going to have as much warmth as the Murano. Both are going to be really, really expansive and let you just really see into the mid-range tremendously. Both are going to have good depth, good width, good height, really good separation and space within that mid-range. The Murano just does it with a little bit more tonal richness, a little bit more warmth to it, and a little bit more conveying of what I would just consider emotion, honestly. So if you like that more like dry and technical presentation, you're going to like the Canta sound a little bit more. If you like that more emotionally engaging presentation that's got more tonal richness to it, you're going to prefer the Murano. Let's talk about bass. The Canta #1 has a slight bump in the mid-bass region. The Murano is more linear. Both speakers have a decent amount of bass. in terms of enough to make instruments sound natural. But the Canta number one, despite being considerably larger overall than the Murano has substantially more bass. It extends lower. It sounds more powerful. It's more effortless. It digs deeper. Both speakers have really good note-to-note distinction and handling of delicate passages and bass articulation overall. The Murano just offers up so much more bass from a slightly smaller package. It's really impressive. The Murano just easily wins in terms of bass compared to the Canta number one. Mid-range and treble are going to more come down to personal taste, but the Murano is not outclassed by the Canta number one. And again, that is a hell of a compliment, especially considering it's currently on sale for $2,200. That's crazy. Let's see, what else can we compare it to? Let's do a speaker I haven't reviewed yet. This is a speaker I really, really like. It's another speaker I borrowed from Upscale Audio. This is going to be the Spendor Classic 3.1. It's $4,500 for the pair. The Murano was originally $4,400 for the pair. You know, they are on sale now for $2,200. What's the difference? So look, from top to bottom, this is an easy one. The Classic 3.1 is going to be on the warmer side of things. I've already told you what the Murano sounds like. The Classic 3.1 is going to sound darker in the treble by direct comparison, quite a bit warmer in the mid-range. Both have supremely powerful bass. The bass power on both speakers was about equal. Both speakers, a subwoofer is absolutely optional. Both speakers were absolute bass monsters. And both speakers had a really beautiful sound overall. Just the Spendor Classic 3.1, it was much warmer, a little bit darker, a little bit more romantic. I really love that sound. Whereas the Murano was more like, hey, we're going to be a little bit romantic. We're going to be a little warm, a little bit rich, but we want to give you a lot of expansive detail, right? So let's talk about the stuff that's more priced appropriately to the Murano at its sale price. I'm going to keep this simple for you guys. I don't want to waste your time or mine. There's nothing that sells for $2,000 or $2,500 or even a little bit more that come close to the Murano. The Murano is a $4,400 a pair speaker. It's just on sale. It's at the end of its life, it's getting cleared out. And it is not outdone by anything that's $2,000-ish. Not the KEF R3 Meta, not the Bucard S400, not the Focal Aria, not the ATC SCM11, which I loved so much I bought after the review, not the Totem Bison that I just gave a glowing review to. These are all fantastic speakers, by the way. I love a lot of speakers in that $2,000-ish price category. I love those speakers. But the Murano is a $4,400 a pair speaker. It's normally double the price of those. It's just on sale. So this is an opportunity for you to seriously win. Let me do one or two comparisons to those speakers though, so you can understand the tonal differences. Let's do the Bucard S400 Mark II. You guys know I love that thing. I talk about it all the time. It's one of my daily drivers. Starting with the top end, the Bucard S400 Mark II is going to be on the darker side of neutral compared to something like the Murano. The Bucard S400 Mark II cannot even come close to matching the detail retrieval, expansiveness, and separation in the treble region that the Murano has. Both are easy on the ears. Both are fairly refined. The Murano is substantially more refined. Moving down to the mid-range region, both speakers are going to be on the warmer side of things. The Bucard S400 Mark II is warmer by quite a bit. And the Bucard S400 Mark II, again, cannot compete with the Murano's openness, expansiveness, separation, and detail and naturalness. Within that mid-range, it doesn't even come close. Moving down to the bass, both speakers have good, strong, powerful bass. You know, the Bucard S400 Mark II is known as a bass monster. The Murano has more. It extends lower. It's more powerful. It's more effortless. It's tighter. It's more articulate. Straight up. The Murano outclasses the Bucard S400 Mark II in every way. It does. Let's talk about the KEF R3 Meta. That's another fan favorite around this price. KEF R3 Meta is going to be ever so slightly darker than the Murano in the treble region, and again, cannot compete with its treble separation, its expansiveness, its soundstage, its width, its depth, its detail retrieval, its resolution in the leading edges. The KEF R3 Meta is quite good at all these things, but it cannot compete with something that originally sold for twice its price. Moving down to the mid-range, both speakers are a little bit on the warmer side of things. The Murano ever so slightly tonally richer. The Murano substantially more expansive, more width, more height, more depth to its mid-range and soundstage. Better imaging, more natural imaging, more layering, better sibilance control than, I mean, honestly, the Murano has better sibilance control than just about anything I've heard in this room. That just like really impressed me. Moving down to the bass, both speakers have a lot of bass. The R3 Meta is a bass monster. It's another subwoofer optional speaker. They're close. I'll be honest. They're close in terms of bass because that R3 Meta bass, it is quite good. It's powerful. It's technical. It's quick. It's agile. The Murano is a little bit better with its note-to-note distinction, however. So again, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. Treble, mid-range bass, the Murano outclasses all of the other speakers that are $2,000 to $2,500. It's not even close. So if you're in the market or you've been in the market for a speaker in the $2,000 to $2,500 price category, the Murano is your easy choice. It is your easy choice. I cannot imagine too many people spending that money on this speaker and being any kind of disappointed. Let's talk about amplification. I used 4 different amps. I used my Burnoco Terra, the Willsenton R300 Plus. Those are both 8-watt tube amplifiers. Fantastic with this speaker. No problem driving them. They're not too difficult to drive. They're not super easy to drive, but they're not difficult either. I used my Kinky Studio separates as well as the Galion EL34 tube amplifier. All 4 amps, no problems. The Murano sounded fantastic no matter what I was doing. Placement was easy too. The same placement that generally works in this room worked just fine for the Muranos. They didn't seem picky. The Muranos also didn't seem picky with musical recordings, you know, like genres, whether I was listening to metal or EDM or singer-songwriter or just like regular music. It just always sounded fantastic. Yeah, man, look, I think that's the review. This is the best hi-fi deal of 2024, like straight up. Straight up, you're getting $4,400 pair of speakers for $2,200 a pair. What more do you want, man? Buy them. If that's the price category you've been shopping, just buy them. Pick your color, click add to cart, and be happy. Like you're not going to regret it. I don't know what else to tell you. Listen, this YouTube channel does have a free Discord. Feel free to hop in there if you want to chat. You can also ask your question in the YouTube comment section below. Just do me a favor. Do not ask me to compare the Murano to another $2,000-ish speaker because I already told you it outclasses all of them. All right, guys. I think I've told you everything I wanted to tell you about the Cabasse Murano. Until next time, take care.